What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report live show. Happy to be back with you guys after a one-week hiatus due to a wedding I had to travel out of town for. We are back in the saddle. Producer Patrick Seatman and I hanging out with you guys, talking Brownies. And you know what? This team, I'm sorry, Patrick, he's a Minnesota Vikings guy. There is nothing going on with the Minnesota Vikings right now. Am I wrong?
They are probably the most boring team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, the Browns, they've always got something going on, it feels like. And today we've got a lot to talk about, right? The Perrion Winfrey situation, we have some new details on that front. I will relay to everyone watching. Plus, the Browns, for the hell of it, decided, you know what? Let's make the decision today. Let's end our agreement with FirstEnergy, and let's call it the Cleveland Browns Stadium until we find some new sponsor, most likely. So we've got a lot of news to hit on. And then we'll get towards the draft because the NFL draft is 14 days away. 2 weeks from today. Really 15 days for the Browns because they will most likely be standing on the sideline for the first round. But that's okay. We've got our first round guys, right? We've got Deshaun Watson. We've got Amari Cooper. So I'm not all that concerned whatsoever. Now, before we get into all that good stuff, shout out your city. Let me know where you are tuning in from. Early 60 people watching right now. Like the video if you love the Browns, or better yet, if you hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. So let me know where you are watching from. We got Jalin tuning in from Dallas along with Cassie. How about that? 2 Dallas residents, one of the first ones to chime in. Cassie, you might not like what you're going to see later on in the video. Max over in LA as usual. AFX is on some student trip because he is in Nigeria, in Lagos maybe. Okay, let's see. We've got Tim Green from a city that starts with a lot of H and A's in it. Avon, there it is. We got Cleveland coming in. Painesville, love to see it from Dario. Let me know where you are watching from today. Shout out your city. David's in Minster. Dog Pound tuning in from Youngstown, Ohio. That's awesome. We got Tampa. Corey's in Murfreesboro. The Borough in Tennessee. The Dirty Borough, as they call it. Greensville, South Carolina. Indiana, Naples, Florida, San Antonio from Michael. Keep getting those cities shout out in the comments section below. Now, the big news item of the day. Well, there's really two. There's the Perrion Winfrey story, and there's the Browns getting a new stadium name. But the Perrion Winfrey story, I think we can all agree, it's a little bit more important, right? The stadium name is just a 24-hour thing. The Winfrey situation is going to be a bit longer than that. So the question that I've seen tossed around, and the first time I heard of the Perrion Winfrey misdemeanor arrest was yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon. I thought, you know what? I don't think it's going to really turn into all that big of a deal. It's a misdemeanor charge. And then I started to read more into it. And I was like, well, that's not good. And then I got the new details today, and I thought, well, that's really not good. So should the Browns cut Winfrey? Y for yes, N for no. Scott O says yes. Justin says, okay, I believe him. He's live. I am live. So let me know. Now, while you're doing so, we've got a super chat from Chef Ruben. What's going on, Chef? Nah, don't cut him. Perrion needs to be on an extremely short leash, though. AB needs to be on the lookout for a legit replacement, though. Here's my pushback to that, though. He was already on a short leash, right? Last season, he was a healthy scratch numerous times. He got a concussion and missed a game because he was riding a bird scooter through downtown Cleveland. He already had some character issues, some immaturity issues, some growing up needing to do. And now this on top of it, if he wasn't on strike 3 already, I don't know where he was at. So I think Andrew Berry definitely needs to think that Perrion Winfrey might not be on this team for long because this could be just the second of a couple instances with some character issues, to say the least, regarding Perrion Winfrey. Chef Ruben, thank you so much for the super chat. The Brown Tiger has rebranded himself. He is now the Spooked Brown Tiger.
Ooh.
I like it. I like it. Let me start this off. LGB, let's go Browns. Screw the Squealers. Brown Tiger, that's actually perfect.
Speaking of,
Patrick, can you whip something up real quick for us?
I will whip something up in the lab because I will say this pissed me off as the Browns being my second home, my second fan base, and we were challenged yesterday, Petey.
Yep. So we have a Steelers channel, as you guys have probably learned from numerous references throughout the show. And they go live on Wednesdays, and they're hosted by Jack Sperry. And I don't know. He went for blood. He went right for the throat, and he started a battle that I plan on ending. And it's not going to be pretty. Let's roll the tape.
Browns are terrible. F the Browns, guys. That's what we do here on Steelers Talk. Let's get an F the Browns.
Agree. F the Browns.
F the Browns. F the Browns. F the Browns.
FPD.
FPD. FPD. All right. Browns Report, hosted by Matthew Peterson, got 166 last week on their live stream. And here on Steelers Talk, we just don't lose to the Cleveland Browns. So here's what I'll tell you guys. If we can get up to $167 before the end of this stream, I will get a Browns hat and I will burn it. And I will put it on social media. I'll put it up here on the channel.
Now, I'm going to refrain from any personal attacks on Mr. Sperry because I don't think he realized how big of an enemy he made when he did that yesterday. But you better believe I am bringing out all the warships, all the stops, every little bit we can get after to tear down Steelers Talk by Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. So you know what? Let's bury them in subscribers and super chats today. We've already got $70-ish to go. No mercy whatsoever for Steelers Talk. They put up $74 yesterday. We're at $7. I would like to leave them in the dust. I don't want them to even be a speck on a radar when we look back at Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. So I am calling on the entire dog pound right now. If you've never super chatted before, if you're a frequent super chatter, if you're a big baller, if you are a real one at the channel, show up and get loud for me, and let's destroy Steelers Talk in super chats, in subscribers, in every possible metric before Sunday arrives. And then I want to go 2-0 against them next season. Better yet, 2-0 and then a playoff win as well. It could even be in Pittsburgh. I don't give a damn. But no mercy for the Steelers and Jack Sperry today. He started a war yesterday. He lost it, but now we are going to make him regret it. Let's go Browns, baby. Let's go Browns. Let's get after them. And let's leave them in a coma. That's the goal.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm a little fired up.
That was personal, Petey.
That was personal.
That was a personal attack on the Browns Report yesterday. And I will say, Browns fans, I think he kind of started off this super chat battle thinking, oh, it's going to be easy. You know, the Browns were a smaller channel compared to theirs. They don't know how deep we run. And speaking of,
let's go, Mac.
I knew Mac was
let's
going to
go,
show
Mac.
up.
That's a personal attack on Mac.
Come on, Mac.
He's not putting up with that shit today. F Pitt, let's go Browns. Let's go Browns. Let's go Browns. Let's go Browns. Let's go, Mac. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. And just like that, $27 into the show. We are catching up to Steelers Talk from yesterday. I've got no concerns about passing them.
No.
That's not what this is about. I want to dunk on them. I want them to look like a JUCO college going up against the Super Bowl champ Cleveland Browns of 2023. That's how embarrassing I want this to be.
This is like Bama week 1 playing that no-name school.
The school of deaf and blind.
Yes.
That is what's going on. So if you've never super chatted before, this is a great day to have your first super chat.
Oh, yeah.
Because it comes against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The biggest rivals, I'll say, for the Cleveland Browns. So let's bury them. Let's go. Okay. As I try and get my heart rate back down a little bit, we do have some other news. We got some stadium news here. Rest in peace. FirstEnergy Stadium. It is no more. Sean Finity, let's go!
Come on, Sean.
Let's go, Sean. That's what I'm talking about. $20 super chat from Sean. We are putting the Steelers channel 10 feet below the ground. Let's go, Browns, baby. There's no super chat menu today. It is simply complete and utter destruction of Jack Sperry and Steelers Talk. I did not start this, but we will finish it. And it will be on our terms, and it will be a bloodbath.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're going back to back.
Let's go, Max. That's what I'm talking about. Sean with the alley-oop.
Let's go.
Max, puts it down. Bingo. Yes.
Come on, man.
Woo! $20 to send Perrion to Good Manners School. We enrolling him today at that school. Let's go.
Yeah, Perrion.
Dog
might need to
bowls
go
for
to
you
that
guys.
A little more. Appreciate it. We're already up to 67. Guys, we haven't even gotten started today, and we're already 10 away from putting Steelers talk in the dirt.
This is going to be more embarrassing than the playoff game of 2020. That is my goal.
And like that, we already
Chris
created
with a
Come
$10
on.
super chat. Let's go. Yes. This is as close as I felt to like
Look at that.
3rd and 8, a sack to force the other team to punt on Sunday. You know what I mean? Like that kind of situation.
Yeah. That's
Where
a
like,
feeling.
better yet, this feeling is like a sack to push Pittsburgh out of field goal range.
Yep.
It's like, Pickett, you had to throw the ball away, you big dum-dum. Let's go. Let's go. And just like that, Chris pushes us across, but we are not taking our foot off the gas. This is only the start.
No, this is only the start.
Let's go. Pitt, all their draft picks are going to be bust. Voodoo curse is on Pittsburgh now from Chris Yarden.
You don't want to be drafted by the Steelers.
You do not want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. $77 already ahead of Steelers talk, and we're not slowing down. If you've never super chatted before, a great day to have your first super chat to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers channel here. They just keep on rolling it, baby. Let's go.
Come on.
Let's go,
Come
J.I.
on.
That's what I'm talking about. Shake and bake. Yes.
This is a good one, too.
Just indomitable. $10 to buy a terrible towel and burn it using Troy Polamalu hair as Kindle. If the terrible towel wasn't about a fundraiser, a charity fundraiser, I'd be all for burning it.
True, yeah.
It's a little bit in bad taste if we go that far, but we
been the
can
best.
find something else to burn.
Yeah.
We
definitely.
can get creative here. No mercy, though. There will be no mercy. There will
just
be
a
no
start.
white flag. That's what it'll be. We will burn a white flag. Because when they want to surrender, when they are begging for one more breath of air, none. Zilch.
You know what pissed me off about that, Petey? He declared battle without even getting our consent.
No,
And
he
he
did
just
not.
said, we're going to battle them.
It was literally a carbon copy of Pearl Harbor. They sent us a friendship bracelet, right? And then out of nowhere, Sunday morning, 7:32 a.m., bombs start falling down. So this will get bad.
When was the last time the Steelers were really relevant in the NFL?
I'm telling you this much. The Steelers next season, they're going to be bad. When you look
they're gonna
around
be
the
bad.
AFC and Kenny Pickett is your gunslinger,
Think about that.
bye-bye.
Is Kenny Pickett, he's a bottom 3 quarterback in the AFC.
Let's really quickly. AFC West. We'll go west to east, right? Mahomes,
Better. Herb.
Herbert, Garoppolo, Wilson.
All better.
Yeah. I mean, Wilson's tough to argue for right now.
You
But
would
Jimmy
still-
G,
Yeah.
spooked Tiger, Michael Warnecki,
go.
let's go. Okay, AFC South really quickly. They might have us there, though. Texans, we don't know yet, but CJ Stroud could be better, or Bryce Young.
Yeah.
I bet Steelers fans would rather have those two guys. First time super chatter from Peter R. We'll finish this conversation later.
We'll continue this later.
Putting on pause right now. We're over $111. The spooked brown tiger.
Love the name.
God, he's just a legend at the channel. I love our Browns, but seriously, Winfrey, why did you go there? You know what happened with Deshaun Watson there, but come on, man, do your job. Screw the squealers. I'm going to give you some foreshadowing of what today's video is going to look like. I am calling on an all-out ban from Browns players from the city of Houston.
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad. It's ugly, and we're
putting-
not stopping or slowing down yet.
We're putting Steelers talk in the dirt right now.
Let's go. Brown Tiger, you're the man, though. Thank you. Michael Warnecki, $10 super chat. First time super chatter from Peter R. Let's go. How much do you need to buy a Steelers hat and sell instead of doll hands for Kenny Pickett and burn it? Small hands, Kenny.
Small
hands,
hands,
Kenny.
Kenny. It's
Titty
too
ass
cold.
hands. Too small.
Also, Peter, love your profile pic. Call of Duty Black Ops.
Oh, that's a
Best Call
great
of
one.
Duty. Best Call of Duty.
Where do you want to set the Steelers hat at to burn it? We're at $116, $200.
Yeah. We can get there.
$200 to buy a Steelers hat and burn it.
We can get there.
Let's do it. That's the number right now. Peter R., you're the man. Thank you so much. Brett Young with a $5 super chat. You know what this is? This is a 3rd and 4 type of super chat where you pick up 5 on the ground. You do it the Cleveland way.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You run the ball
at
on
midfield,
3rd down.
Nick Chubb, 3rd and 4. They think they're going to pass. No, it's a good-nosed, hard-running football team. Let's go.
This is honestly embarrassing for Steelers talk. Like, really, it's embarrassing. Like, I
We're
would be
16
embarrassed.
minutes in, and we
16
have
minutes.
already beaten them, and now we're looking to lap them.
All right.
And we're not slowing down.
And now we're also going to embarrass Kenny Pickett. Where were we?
Yes,
AFC
South.
South.
I'd rather have Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud.
100%.
Okay. Ryan Tannehill, Michael Kenny Pickett for the long term there,
Kenny
if we're being
Pickett
honest.
can beat the Titans.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence, no.
Nope. And then the last one being
That's
the
it.
Colts.
So, yeah, Bryce.
Will Levis. I hate Will Levis, but I'll like him more for it than Kenny Pickett to
I would
make
like
this
Anthony
argument go
Richardson.
through.
So we'll give him 2 so far.
2 so far. Josh Allen, the Bills. No, I'll take Tua still. And
Mac
the
Jones.
Jets.
Rodgers.
Mac Jones. Boom. Deshaun Watson, Burrow, and Lamar.
He is the 3rd worst quarterback in the AFC.
They're not going to do shit this year. Let's go, Browns, baby. Let's go. Okay. With that being said, it's emphasis on the O, PD. It's spoked Browns. Am I getting that? Spoked. I think I get that.
Spoked?
Spoked.
Like
Spoked. Spoked. You have to double check
Tigers.
for me. Let's show what we got coming up today. So first, give me your stadium name ideas, as the Browns are going to be getting a new stadium. No more FirstEnergy. So light up the comment section right now with your stadium name ideas. But here's what we got coming up live on today's show. As always, the latest news and rumors. Plus, we got some draft rumors and targets to talk about in the middle of the show. And at the end, we will have a live mailbag. So get those questions in. Hashtag Browns. Super chat to get on screen. If you super chat a question, we'll throw it on for everyone watching to see. With that being said, I think we're ready to jump into the show. But as you're watching, we're not letting up on Steelers talk.
Don't forget about the main goal here. guys.
The main goal is to literally have their funeral service be when we're done with this live stream.
I want to walk out and I want to see Jack Sperry in tears.
Yep. Okay, here we go. Let's jump into a live Cleveland Browns report so you can see how it's done. What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson. And on today's show, we've got the latest news and rumors, and some NFL teams might be boring or quiet in the offseason. Not the Cleveland Browns. Never the Cleveland Browns. So we've got a lot to talk about today, and let's start with the biggest story out there right now, which is the Perrion Winfrey situation. Are the Browns going to release Perrion Winfrey? I originally had this as 1 Bernie head, but I have upped it to 2 Bernie heads. I think there is some serious smoke and some reasonable thought behind the release of Perrion Winfrey after his misdemeanor assault arrest. Well, not the arrest allegedly, but the assault allegedly. So, why is Perrion Winfrey getting caught, right? The idea has been tossed around all over the place right now. It's hard to even trace it back to its origin. Now, Winfrey, like I stated, was arrested on a misdemeanor assault charge on Monday in Houston, Texas, Harris County. He allegedly caused bodily harm by grabbing his girlfriend with his hand. So could the Browns end up cutting Winfrey, right? That's the question everyone's asking. Before we look at any new details I've got, first things first, let's just get this out in the open. I'm going to call out for an all-out ban on Browns players going to Houston, Texas. It seems to be that nothing good comes from Browns players in Houston, so there's a lot of great cities in the U.S. Pick another one, but no more Houston, please. Can we all agree on that? Now, as for Winfrey, some new details here. The Browns are still gathering information before they make any decisions, and potentially by the time you're watching this, as we are filming this during our live show Thursday afternoon, we might have a decision. But he's currently on a $1,000 bond and has an electronic monitoring device. His court date is set for Tuesday. Now, Mary Kay had a very informative write-up on the new details, and here were some of those details she had. Winfrey and his girlfriend got in an argument over a dog and rental car keys. Not really sure how that leads to an argument, but aside from the point, Perrion Winfrey tried to force her to leave the area they were in with him. She did not want to leave, so he forcibly grabbed her allegedly and tried to make her come with. People in the area intervened, and Winfrey ended up backing off and leaving, I guess. Now, earlier that day, Winfrey kicked in the door of her friend's home, who she was at. So clearly had a bit of road rage, some anger management going on if he's kicking in doors. He placed a tracking device on her car. Now, I can't say all of these are definitive facts. These are reports coming in from Mary Kay and other witnesses and whatnot, and we've got some levels of he said, she said, and some allegedly going on here, but a lot of bad smoke around the current situation. So, the pinned comment on today's video, should the Browns cut Perrion Winfrey? I didn't think it would get to this point so quickly after I saw the news yesterday of misdemeanor charge. Well, that's not good. Definitely not good, but I don't know if it's going to escalate to him being released. But then you look at some of these details and you wonder, is that the kind of character the Browns want to have in their locker room when there's already so much smoke and heat they get for trading for Deshaun Watson and his history with women allegedly? So do they want to be that kind of team moving forward? They might decide, Winfrey, you're just the wrong guy at the wrong place in this situation. If it's not for all the bad publicity we've already gotten, maybe we would have seen through this, but we can't have two guys on our roster who are allegedly, not having great track records with women. Now, Perrion Winfrey is not the first. This is not the first instance for Perrion Winfrey of some bad publicity. Let's kind of go through his troubling start in the NFL. And I hate to just bring up poor mistakes because he's young. He was a rookie. A lot of people make mistakes their rookie season or their first year out of college. But unfortunately, he's had a bad run of making dumb mistakes. Week 2, he was suspended by the team. We never got a reasoning for it, but violated team rules. Myles Garrett talked with him. He ultimately was suspended. Week 8, healthy scratch. Week 9, a bye. Week 10, healthy scratch. What's going on there? We never really got a clear answer, but when your 4th-round pick is a healthy scratch at a position where you are dog awful at, that's pretty concerning. Week 11, he missed due to a concussion because he hit his head riding a scooter in downtown Cleveland. It's just a long run of immaturity and lack of professionalism from Perrion Winfrey. So all of that, plus these alleged details being true, equals probably getting released, I think, right? Now, I don't know if the Browns are going to see through this and go, well, we gave you strikes 1, which was the healthy scratch or the suspension by the team for some undisclosed reason. Strike 2 was probably being a healthy scratch. Strike 3, I would have thought, was the injury, but that's not really a strike. It's an injury, so, hey, we'll kind of give you a foul tip there. But strike 3 might be this one, and that could be you're out. Now, Winfrey last season for the Browns, he wasn't a major contributor, but he definitely improved down the stretch. And the way he ended last season, it felt like he could be an improving player on this defensive line. When you look at the defensive line, I think he's going to be a starter if there was a game tomorrow and all this didn't happen. I think it'd be Tomlinson and Winfrey. Maybe it's Jordan Elliott, but for now, I think we can relatively pencil in Winfrey as being the starter. So with that being said, we're going to talk about some draft plans changing in just a moment here because the Browns might have been looking to draft a defensive tackle in the mid rounds, but instead this might change with a long-term future with Winfrey in doubt. Now, we're going to talk more about some Browns news and rumors in just a sec, but first, really quickly, on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday show, I talked about how our Steelers channel at Chat Sports picked up 34 new subscribers. I want to see if we could beat them. And I don't know if everyone watching takes that word for word or if you just think I'm making it up out of thin air. But I have real proof that I work and sit across like diagonal from an absolutely incoherent Steelers fan. And all he does is shit talk the Browns. And I want to make him eat his words. Here's what Jack Sperry from Steelers Talk said on his live show on Wednesday. Enjoy.
Browns are terrible. F the Browns, guys. That's what we do here on Steelers Talk. Let's get an F the Browns.
Agree. F the Browns.
F the Browns. F the Browns. F the Browns.
FPD.
FPD. FPD. All right. Browns Report, hosted by Matthew Peterson, got 166 last week on their live stream. And here on Steelers Talk, we just don't lose to the Cleveland Browns. So here's what I'll tell you guys. If we can get up to $167 before the end of this stream, I will get a Browns hat and I will burn it. And I will put it on social media. I'll put it up here on the channel.
And just as we were rolling that clip right there, as we're filming this during our live show on Thursday, we got an $80 super chat from Peter R. Let's throw it on screen, actually, to burn a Steelers hat. So if you hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you want to sweep the Squealers next year, sub an F-Pit and shout out to Peter R. for an $80 super chat to burn a Steelers hat. Because you know what? Pittsburgh Steelers Talk by Chat Sports started the battle yesterday, but we are ending it today, and it is an overwhelming Browns victory, almost if not just as bad for them as the playoff game in 2020. Peter, thank you so much. Let's go Browns. Fuck the Steelers. Moving on to our second story on the show. Are the Browns renaming FirstEnergy Stadium? For Bernie Heads, it's not a rumor now. It is a done deal. The Browns themselves announced on Twitter that they will no longer be going by FirstEnergy Stadium at their home place. So, Cleveland Browns and FirstEnergy mutually agreed to end stadium naming rights agreement. Our home stadium will return to its former name, Cleveland Browns Stadium. So, a beautiful look at the Cleveland Browns Stadium. I hope they rename it somewhat soon. It doesn't have to be a new name for 2023. I mean, I'm open to all ideas right now. So if you've got one, let me know. The only pushback I'll get to in just a second is on the idea of doing the dog pound, and I'll tell you why. But I don't know. What about the Cleveland Browns football ground? Browns football grounds. Got the Polo Grounds? I don't know. There's a lot of businesses based in Ohio. Like, I don't think Kroger makes a ton of sense. That works more for Cincinnati. But, you know, Sherwin-Williams? Maybe. You've already got Progressive, Nationwide, potentially. So we'll see what happens. The only thought I have is I think there's going to be a lot of people who comment, the dog pound, right? The dog house or something like that. Can you really name it the dog pound if there's a dog pound inside of it already? Right? You've got the dog pound in the end zone. With it, maybe call it the dog house? But I don't think the Browns are going to lean that far into the Browns, like the dog shtick for this team. So it would be pretty cool, but I don't think that's likely. Now, moving on to our third and final story, just kind of combing over some free agency buzz out there. Are the Browns adding a veteran edge rusher? I'm going to give it 2 Bernie Heads, but really it's like 1.75, and I just got to round up here. So there's been some talk in this new Perrion Winfrey situation might pick up some steam around the idea of the Browns adding another defensive lineman. So Cleveland.com came out with a list of 3 edge rushers that the Browns could look to add. Justin Houston, longtime Chief on that list. Carlos Dunlap, longtime Cincinnati Bengal. Then Melvin Ingram, longtime San Diego Charger. And I guess LA Charger briefly too. Were the 3 guys they identified. Now, when you look at their stats from last year, does anything jump out to you? How about Justin Houston getting 9.5 sacks last season at 33 years old for Baltimore? So now when we look at this Browns defensive line room, specifically at the edge rushers, you feel pretty good about Myles Garrett and Obo Okoronkwo. And Alex Wright, he was bad last year if we're just calling a spade, but there's no reason to believe he can't improve in year 2. Isaiah Thomas showed a lot of promise in the preseason, so if I had to pick one of those 3 guys, I think I got to go with Justin Houston, right? It's coming off a 9.5 sack season. You add him into the rotation where it's, hey, we know you're up in the age column, so we're not going to call on you on 1st and 10 from their own 20. But can you come in on 3rd and 9 for obvious passing situations and just get after the quarterback a couple times a game and get us 5, 6, 7 sacks? Seems pretty good to me. So be the GM. Should the Browns sign an edge rusher? S for sign or P for pass? Do you want to keep the room where it is right now, or do you think they should add another player to it? Peter R., let's go! Yes! Had to keep the composure during the video, but an $80 super chat, best money I've ever spent. Burn that hat, and those baby hands like Watson will torch Pittsburgh secondary this year. Peter R., a first-time super chatter today, just demolishing Steelers talk.
I mean, Peter R., the MVP of today's show.
He's got literally
See,
the Steelers by the balls right now.
he took it personal.
He did,
And
as
that's how I love
everyone
to see
should.
it. You should take it personal.
We're at $203.95 now, thanks to Peter R. and some other people as well. But we'll get a Pittsburgh Steelers hat. We'll have a nice Viking funeral for it.
Yeah.
And we will burn that puppy.
We will burn it.
And
can
Kenny
unveil it.
Pickett's titty-ass hands.
Yeah, we can unveil it next live show.
May I add on to this idea?
Go for it.
Let's burn it, and let's mail it to the Steelers.
Like, actually
Yes.
mail it to the Steelers.
I love
Yeah.
some mail.
Petey is a big
We
fan
will
of
mail it to the Steelers.
I'm all
Peter
in.
R., dog bowl for you, man.
That's a look at the update right now. Petey put at the top of this graphic, no mercy.
There will be no mercy. So if you think we're done, we're just getting started. This is only the first quarter.
This is the first quarter.
And I want this to be a 49-0 game at the half.
Yeah.
I want you to view it as like when Ohio State plays a random MAC school or something.
Yeah.
Except they don't take out C.J. Stroud for the third quarter.
And they want to pile it on.
And they want to set an FBS record and win by 1,000 points.
Listen, point differential matters.
Yes.
Super chat differential, that matters.
Okay, we got a super chat from the Brown Tiger. Yes, spoked like the spokes in a bicycle tire.
Spoked brown tiger.
Spoked Brown Tiger. I'm not quite sure the meaning behind that.
I'm not sure either. Also, big Boston Bruins fan.
Yeah, he's a Bruins guy.
Congrats to them. Just set the record for most wins in a year.
I know, but that's scary.
Heading into the playoffs.
NHL, known President Cup winners,
Not good.
does not do well. Sometimes, but I talked to the Capitals about that. It never worked out well for them.
Yep.
So a little weary of peaking too early. But maybe they just go out and win the whole thing, and it's like, wow,
yeah.
we just watched the best NHL team in a single season in the history of the league.
Yeah.
140 years old now, almost.
That's incredible.
Pretty awesome. Brown Tiger, thank you so much. Mac Predalis, what's going on? I saw a tweet earlier today that reported Winfrey had some quiet suspensions in college as well. He stays getting into trouble, SMH. So, are we putting any blame on the Browns for drafting a guy like this? Like, could they have foreseen this? He didn't get arrested in college. That's one thing, right? If you draft a guy who gets arrested in college and then he gets arrested in the pros, it's a little bit like shame on you. You kind of knew this was coming.
Yeah.
I had not seen any reports about him being quietly suspended in college. So that's news to me. I'll have to go look into that and get back to you. But, I mean, for how quickly his immaturity and lack of professionalism showed at the NFL level, like it wasn't just like one miss in training camp. You know what I mean? It was thing after thing after thing. When there's smoke, there's fire. And I wonder if the Browns decide this is not worth the headache for not being a fantastic producer last season either. We'll have to wait and see. Mac, thank you so much. Let's keep the supers rolling. Scarehouse Tim Zombie with a new profile picture. F-Pit Stadium. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof. Acrisure Field. One of the worst stadiums in football. The only good thing that happened to them was that the Bengals are so poor they had to ditch their stadium name and go with Paycor so that they could finally pay their bills and give Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins the money they deserve. So, yeah, it is an awful stadium name in Pittsburgh. Shout out to you, Scarehouse Tim Zombie. Let's go, Browns, baby.
I will say, I feel like there's way more beef between the Browns and the Steelers and the Browns and the Bengals. Like, I feel like the Browns and Bengals are kind of like, I've seen you don't like them. But it's not like the hatred that you have for the Steelers. Like, am I wrong on that?
No, I don't think you're wrong. And I think there's like an interesting case study to be done of how the AFC North all equally hate each other so much. Whereas in other divisions, two teams tend to line up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, pick a random division for me.
like NFC North, like the Bears-Packers.
Right,
They really
Bears-Packers.
hate it. Vikings-Packers.
But like Vikings-Lions,
Bears-Lions.
it's like,
it's not-
I guess so a little, but not really. But like in the AFC North, Steelers-Ravens is huge.
yeah.
Ravens-Browns is huge.
Steelers.
Ravens-Bengals is huge.
Yeah, every game is
Every
like-
single
yeah,
game.
That's a good point.
Yep. Josh Miller, what's going on? Cade York Field at Phil Dawson Stadium. That's a kicker's dream. That would make more sense if it was a dome stadium with a lot of success of making clutch field goals. Unfortunately, the lake effect and the lake wind does not do it justice. But hey, we are talking about Joshua Miller here, the Phil Dawson of the channel. $50 super chat, which reminds me, Peter R. I know this is your first time super chatting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's your first time tuning in, but hey, pick your own Browns player, and we will give you a player comp. And anytime you super chat in the future, we'll throw it on screen for everyone to see. Let's run through the other ones. We got Brown Tiger. I think we got some more too. So Brown Tiger is the Joe Hayden of the channel, for example. If we see any other ones, no Greg today so far.
We have Warnecki was in
Yeah,
here?
Michael Warnecki.
Yeah.
He's the Eric Metcalf good one. So these are the player comps we got. $50 super chat. Pick your own player. Let me know who you want to roll with, and we'll get it set up for you for next week's live show. Now, let's move on to our second story of the day, our second segment, if you will, which is all about some draft rumors, some draft buzz, all that good stuff. So this is what we've got on tap for everyone. We're going to look through some players the Browns might be looking at in the draft based on their pre-draft visits. And at the end of the show, we got a mailbag. So get those questions in. Hashtag Browns or Super Chat. We're at $207. What should be the $300 achievement? Trying to think. Anything coming to your mind? Yeah, I want to be anti-Pittsburgh, though. I want it to be a Steeler. Yeah. You know, if we do $300 in Super Chats, here's what I want to do. $300 in Super Chats, I'm going to go to Walgreens. I'm going to actually go to the printing station there. I'm going to print out the picture of Big Ben crying on the bench, that shot with the score at the bottom and the clock and everything. And I'm just going to mail that to the Pittsburgh Stadium, the Pittsburgh Steelers facility for like the next month or something. And yes, Sperry's desk every single day. So that's what we'll do. $300, I'm going to mail the printout picture of Fat Big Ben crying on the heated bench with the Browns winning in the playoffs to their facilities every day until the draft.
I love that.
Yeah.
Sending the opposing teams bad memories
Every single day.
of their franchise. I love it. I'm all
Every
here
single
for it.
day until the draft. That's what we'll do. 2 weeks away. So, crying Ben Stadium. That's a great one, Josh. If we get to $300 in Super Chats, which we are currently $93 away from, that's what we're going to do. I love the mail. We're supporting the local economy. I'm buying stamps. We're supporting Walgreens. In a dying business, yeah. Okay, so that's what we got on tap for today. Look at that Brown Tiger. Chipping away at it. Thank you. Okay, Brown Tiger. What about Joe Hayden Stadium? Screw the Squealers. We can't do Joe Hayden if he played for the Steelers because they will immediately laugh at us for picking a guy who the Browns more or less made a mistake by letting go and him going to Pittsburgh. So I can't quite do that one, but I like your idea of ending your Super Chat with Screw Squealers. Michael Warnecki with a $5 Super Chat. We will use this in our mailbag as well. Let's throw it on screen, though, for everyone to see now. Michael Warnecki, when should the Browns draft a running back? That's a great question. Round 4? Round 5? Somewhere in that range? Like Jerome Ford last year was a 5th-round pick? I think that's appropriate. You could go... You got 2 4th-round picks. I don't hate that idea. If someone you love falls there, but don't reach on like a Deuce Vaughn in that spot, because I think there's so much hype around, Deuce Vaughn now or Ty J. Spears that they won't live up to it, right? We have built them into like, oh, these running backs in round 4 are going to be better than round 2 guys. Like, I'm not quite so sure on that one just yet. Okay. Are we ready, Mr. Seatman? Okay, here we go. Let's jump into some draft rumors and targets for the Browns. We're going to talk about some draft targets for the Cleveland Browns on today's show. But if you are ready for the Browns to go out and draft 8 Pro Bowlers, as they have 8 picks in this upcoming draft, then like this video. Today's show is sponsored by RexMD, the #1 leader in men's telehealth. They've got deals with up to 90% off, which is just $2 per dosage. We'll tell you more about their great services later on, but visit them today at rexmd.com/chat. Now, let's talk draft rumors and targets. So I thought for today's show, what we could do was just bring in all of the pre-draft visit and the combine meetings, kind of condense it for everyone, round it all up, and then see who could the Browns seriously be looking at drafting here. Now, we are filming this during our live show Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern. So if the Browns bring in someone for a visit afterwards, well, obviously, we won't have it on today's show. But first things first, let's run through their combine meetings. Now, it's a good reminder that teams meet with a lot of guys every single year, and they do not draft nearly all those guys or even a high percentage of them. So they did meet with some wide receivers when they were at the combine: Tyler Scott, Parker Washington, cornerback Julius Brents from K-State, and then safety Jamie Robinson out of Florida State. Now, as for official pre-draft visits, which they only get 30 of, so guys they clearly have some sort of crush on, let's go in order from offense down to defense, starting with the quarterback. So first one up, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Clayton Tune from Houston, and then Jake Haener out of Fresno State. Of those 3 guys, one really catches my eye, and it's probably the one you're thinking of too. The UCLA Bruins quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. 5-year starter over in LA, 3,100 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. He showed a lot of greatness and flashes and potential. The only issue is that he was the starter for 5 years, and the things he had to work on in year 2 were still the things he had to work on in year 5. And that is reading all 11 players on defense and recognizing blitz packages and whatnot. So from that level of the game, he still needs to get better at. And if you're an NFL GM, you would have hoped that over 5 years, the collegiate level as a starter, you would figure some of those things out by the time you got to your last season. Now, I'm a big believer in always drafting a quarterback. I mean, the Brock Purdy example last year just goes to show it is worth a flyer in the 6th or 7th round on a QB, whereas the guy you draft from the defensive lineman or a safety in round 7, let's be honest, how often do those guys even make a play in the preseason? So for that reason, I'm always a big believer in draft a QB, even if you don't need a quarterback. You'll never know when you need a quarterback. Talk to the 49ers about that. And you'd rather have one than not need one than need one and not have one if, unfortunately, a bunch of injuries start to occur. Now, some other pre-draft visits that were reported. Nathaniel Dell, Tank Dell, and Jalin Hyatt, 2 wide receivers. If we want to compare these 2 players, the Biletnikoff winner from Tennessee, my alma mater, Jalin Hyatt, 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns last year. And then Tank Dell, who bounced around a little bit early in his collegiate career, but with the Houston Cougars the last 2 years, extremely productive. And the guy was just a big play machine time after time. Now, why are the Browns visiting with Jalin Hyatt, who more than likely will not be there in round number 3? The only Brian Windhorst theory I have is the Browns might be looking to trade up because they think, well, we got 8 draft picks. Do we have 8 roster spots? If the answer is no, because they've done a lot in free agency, well, then maybe you condense those 8 picks into 6 better picks, right? Or maybe you take some of those 8 picks and trade back and get more picks for 2024, which I know isn't really fun right now, but I think we'll all appreciate more picks in 2024. So maybe Cleveland is looking to move up, or maybe Jimmy Haslam just told Andrew Berry, bring my guy from Knoxville up to Cleveland and fall in love with him like I did, and you'll want to trade up and get him. We'll wait and see what happens, but it is a little fishy meeting with a guy like Jalin Hyatt, who you know will not be there when you're on the clock in round number 3. So does that signal a potential trade up? Maybe, maybe not. But be the GM for me. Would you trade back into round 2? Type T for trade or type P for pass. Let me know what you're thinking down below. And while you're getting your comments in, let me tell you about today's sponsor in more detail, RexMD. Fellas, do you sometimes lack confidence in the bedroom? We've all had those nights where we get too nervous or maybe had too much to drink, and there's nothing worse than not being able to put the stick shift in drive when you need it most. But have no fear, RexMD is here, spreading cheer even when you have too many beers. RexMD is FDA approved and the most trusted leader in men's telehealth. They have sponsored today's Browns Report to help you always be prepared. RexMD has made it simple, easy, and cost-effective to help all men out there last longer and feel more confident in the bedroom. RexMD makes getting generic and branded Viagra or Cialis easy. Everything is online, even the prescription, and they deliver it discreetly to your door. So no waiting rooms, no embarrassing trips to the doctor, no insurance, and no copays. Take advantage of their best deal they've ever offered and save up to 90% off and only pay $2 per dosage with our exclusive link. Go to rexmd.com/chat and use that link for this deal. It will not last forever. Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available to our listeners to get started. That is rexmd.com/chat. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Some other reported pre-draft visits for Cleveland. We got some offensive linemen to look at now. Jones from Ohio State, Tyler Steen out of Bama, Juice Scruggs, what an all-time name, out of Penn State. So why are they looking at offensive linemen? Well, it is a good reminder of they have 30 pre-draft visits. Teams don't have 30 positions of need. So they are going to do their homework and see for the future. And one spot for the future is, are you sold on Jedrick Wills? And I think I'm going to get a lot of no's. So are the Browns maybe doing their homework and thinking, okay, is there a best player available that might not be in need right now, but we think he is simply too good to pass up on? And that could be the Ohio State lineman, Jones. Now, I could see him potentially being this year's Martin Emerson type of pick where we all go, wait a minute, why did the Browns just draft a tackle? They've got 2 tackles. Just like last year when they drafted a corner and we're like, we've got Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. What are they doing? Well, worked out pretty well because Martin Emerson was awesome last season. So could Dawan Jones be the same for Cleveland this year? He is a mountain of a human being. 6'8", 374 pounds. He's mocked to go between rounds 2 and 3, so right where the Browns are. A 2-year starter at right tackle who excels at run blocking. I don't know if they would think maybe they could kick him to left tackle if they don't see a future with Jed Wills, or they want to groom him to take over from Jack Conklin, who might be gone after 2024. Now, we're going to look at more pre-draft visits in just a brief moment, but I've got a bit of a bizarre, usual cliche YouTube sub pitch and read here. Can we get exactly 17 new subscribers? Not 16, not even 18, but 17. I don't know why I picked that number, but I thought it could be a fun experiment to see if we can get 17 on the dot. So don't everyone go rushing at once to subscribe, but definitely don't rely on other people to do the heavy lifting for you. Let's see if we can get exactly 17. This could be a fun experiment. Some other pre-draft visits the Browns have had so far. Some defensive linemen now. Gervon Dexter, from Florida. DJ Johnson out of Oregon. Carl Brooks from Bowling Green, Siaka from Baylor, and then linebacker Trent Simpson from Clemson. Now, if we're going to look at just the defensive lineman for a moment, how about that Carl Brooks guy? 18 tackles for loss, 10 sacks. He was a 5-year player for Bowling Green. He led the team in sacks every single season. That is a very rare thing to find. Now, Ika had a pre-draft visit with the Browns very recently, and I understand that he fits the mold of big nose tackle who's going to be tough to run against, like a Vita Vea. I got a little bit of concerns with him just because he somewhat regressed from 2021 to 2022, and I'm a little concerned as to why he did. Dexter and Johnson. Dexter's another defensive tackle, a run-stopping player. Johnson would be an edge rusher who could go in rounds 4 through 5. Now, as for linebacker Trent Simpson, last season for Clemson, 73 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. And the Browns have quietly a very big need at linebacker because at the surface level, they've got 3 starters. So what do they need a linebacker for? But if we're thinking ahead here, who's on this team in 2024? JOK and Tony Fields. That's it. So they hopefully will plan for the future and not push off this issue that will be their next offseason and not draft anyone to replace Anthony Walker or Taki, as they are both on 1-year contracts. If I had to pick someone between those 5 guys we just looked at, I'm going to go with Trent Simpson. Now, the Winfrey situation, which potentially by the time you're watching this, will have dramatically altered our train of thought on this. But for now, at least while I'm filming this during our live show on Thursday, he's on this team, and they don't have a glaring need at defensive tackle. Whereas for linebacker, they're good until one injury happens. And then it's a problem. Or better yet, until Walker or Taki are ready to play. And can anyone say for sure they will start week 1? I can't. So for that reason, I like the idea of Simpson. He's the best player on the board for Cleveland in this case. Now, what say you? Should the Browns draft for need or best player available? Last year, they went best player available, Martin Emerson. And there was some frustration, for myself included, because it was like, what are you doing? Cornerback was probably the one spot you didn't need a player. You've already got 3 starters, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, and Troy Hill. Ended out working pretty well for them, but let me know what you think down below. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, by the way, at Matthew Petey. I'm always talking Brownies over there. So hit me up and give me your hottest takes on my Twitter, at Matthew Petey. Peter R. with a super chat. Let's go, Peter. Can I have Nick Chubb? If not, then Myles Garrett. It's tough to say no. The only thing, Peter, is what we try to do for these player comps is not go big players at the moment, because then all of them are going to get taken up.
Yeah.
That's like the only like sort of unwritten rule. Now,
if you have another player,
if you got another player that's like, hey, I loved this guy when I first became a fan, that's a much better selection. But we can pencil in maybe Chubb for now. Like, I don't have Joe Thomas or Deshaun Watson up for grabs because they're just too iconic to give to one person. That's the only train of thought. But, Peter, you're a legend today. Shout out to you. We got a $20 super chat from Ray Binning. Let's go, Ray.
My man.
Take the Pittsburgh house down. Can we update the sub chat battle? Ray with a 20. Let's go. Dog bowl for these last 2 big supers right here.
Ray wants them in the dirt.
Ray,
that's what we're doing.
No mercy. Look at this. Look at it. It's beautiful. It's majestic.
We can honestly sit here for a couple seconds and just grasp and just take in how elite the dog pound has been today.
Kind of wafted in. You know what I mean?
You know, you
smell that? It smells like a W. Smells like a win right there.
Just good energy going into the draft. That's going to translate to training camp, then all that. Browns to the moon.
This is just the best. But the best part is, we're not done. $50 away, and I will mail a picture of Big Ben crying after the playoff loss to the Browns to the Steelers practice facility every day until the draft.
Let's do it.
I'm just going to go from work today, after work, go right to Walgreens, print them out. I've got all the Post-its. I got all the envelopes and stamps and whatnot.
You know,
but this will be even better.
Petey, that would be a great short.
Yeah, that would be.
You putting it like in the mailbox, like
day 1,
cut it up.
day 2. I'll write a little note, a little Post-it note every single time.
Do that. That's a great idea.
Now we're $45 away. We got to get this done.
Let's go. And Mac also says you owe him a dog bowl. I'm not gonna.
Mac, if Mac says so, Mac's word is gold here.
I see Mac in the chat saying it. I gotta let you know.
Oh yeah, Mac says so. He's right. Okay, we got Joshua Miller with a $5 super. Yahoo Sports says trading for Deshaun Watson and giving him that contract is easily the worst decision the Browns have made in the past 7 years. Thoughts? They're jokes. I mean,
you can't even determine that's a bad. Petey's putting the dog bowl
I
down.
am. Yahoo Sports comes at this completely from a political angle and no relevancy to football whatsoever. Let's just call it how it is.
Yeah.
They are saying it's the worst decision. even if he wins a Super Bowl, you know what their title will be? Browns win Super Bowl with tainted quarterback.
Yeah.
Right, that's what they'll do. They will never, ever accept, from a football standpoint, it was a great decision. And I stand by that. So Yahoo Sports, bunch of frauds. Awful take. Awful take. Plus, let's just be honest for a moment. We are talking about the Cleveland Browns, the team that could not find a quarterback since returning in 99.
Yeah.
If they had to overpay to get a sure thing, they get that one pass.
Yeah.
Were they going to go out and draft a quarterback? When does that work for them before? Anyone? So, no. That's dumb from Yahoo Sports. Josh, thank you for the super chat. Mac Predalis, I think Brown should trade up and grab Siaka Ika. The guy can't play 3 downs. He can stop the run. He's not going to help in pass rush. And honestly, that's okay. That's not like a con I have for him. But if you're a run-stopping nose tackle and you've got some like athleticism, more like stamina, that's the word I'm looking for. I'm a little weary of that being a round 2 guy who in Berea in August is going to be huffing and puffing and blowing a house down. So that's why I'm a little bit out on Ika. But if they draft him, I'll try and get back in on it.
I will say, he does fit, like, the name theory. Like, I can see him being a good defensive tackle. Like, Ika on the back of a jersey.
Yeah.
Like, I can see it. Like, you know what I mean?
I know. It's just, I've watched some tape, and it's like, he's got highlights. Everyone has highlights. But during the third quarter, he doesn't have highlights. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You follow along? Moving on here from the Brown Tiger. Do you think Barry would trade up to get Trent Simpson? He's a baller for sure. I know from experience. As always, screw the sucky squealers. I mean, like I said, the Browns have 8 picks in this draft. I can say about 80% confidence they will not draft 8 players. They're either moving up and getting fewer picks, but getting a guy they like, or trading back and getting more picks for 2024. I don't know which one, but they're not staying put. I can almost guarantee you that. So if he falls in love with Trent Simpson after his visit, I hope he would value linebacker highly because they are one injury away from having a big problem on their hands. So I'm not opposed.
Oh, and then Peter R. actually said Gary Barnage.
Barnage, tight end.
Is he available?
Yep, he's available. That's your guy. That's
right,
a great one. That's a fantastic one.
He says, I'll never forget the butt catch touchdown against the Ravens.
Oh,
and can the picture be him catching that touchdown between his legs?
Yeah, we will get that done. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
Beautiful, beautiful Peter R. Beautiful.
Shout out to Peter.
Shout out Peter, the MVP today. Scarehouse Tim Zombie. What's your all-time Browns draft bust list, Matthew? I will say that I don't remember how old I was at the moment, but when they drafted Brandon Weeden, I was like, hey, I'm in middle school or whatever, and I can tell you this is a bad idea. So I was always out on Weeden. I mean, I was in on Manziel. Justin Gilbert, cornerback, Oklahoma State. What was he, 4th overall, 5th overall, late 9th? No, I thought Manziel was the teens and Gilbert was the first selection they had that year. Or Manziel was 22 or 26.
Gilbert and Manziel were the same one, and then Weeden was the same as number 3 pick, Trent Richardson. That might be the worst.
Well, they got a first round out of it, though.
True.
So James Yoder, our boss here at Chat Sports, he's chiming in. What pick was Justin Gilbert? Here was the major concern with drafting Justin Gilbert. You do not trust Big 12 corners. Yeah. They do not know how to play defense.
Any secondary player in the Big 12.
That was the bad idea. Justin Gilbert was pick 8, in 2014. Okay, so that was the red flag right there was, it's a Big 12 corner. He does not know how to play defense in the NFL. Yeah. So I was never in on Gilbert. I'm definitely going to go Manziel number 1. I was a believer in Johnny Manziel.
Were you really?
Yeah, how could you not be?
Yeah?
I thought it would work. I really did. So that's number 1 on my list right there, Tim. Thank you so much for the super chat. Tim Green popping in. Any future stadium name will definitely be better than Acrisure Stadium. Sounds like an STD cream. Go Browns. That is incredible, Tim. Yes. That is perfect. You stole the words out of my mouth, and I didn't even know I wanted to say that. That's how great it is. All-time super chat from Tim Green.
It's one of those things. It's funny.
You know what
because it's
Acrisure
true.
is? Literally, here's what you do. Next time you're at, say, like, a Guardians game or something, or your buddy's like a section over, just yell like, Patrick, I've got your Acrisure cream.
It sounds like,
You're like, does it still itch?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just while he's talking to someone at a bar, that's going to go over well. That's what you got to do. Okay.
it's good stuff.
Cheers to you guys. All the super chats.
Yeah, appreciate it. And then we are closing in on
We are
the number.
$45 away from me mailing a picture. And every single day, I'll just do a short of day 1, day 2, day 3 of the note and mailing it to the Pittsburgh Steelers headquarters.
I'm all in.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious.
We got to get this done. Just start chipping away. Team effort. $2, $5, $10 super chats, and let's get to 300.
I want to point that out in that chat. Brandon Weeden right now is currently 39 years old. What year do you think he was drafted?
Brandon Weeden was drafted 2012.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think about that.
That is tough. Justin Gilbert, last in the league, 2016. He was in the league for 3 seasons. Wow, that is sad. Oh boy. That's brutal. That's a tough scene right there. Okay, we got a mailbag coming up next on the show, so get those questions in, #Browns, or you can super chat like so many of you have so far today. If you have super chatted, we will be sure to include your super chats in the mailbag. So, Patrick, let's get all the super chat questions at the start. Okay, we've got a green light from producer Seeps, so let's jump into a live Browns mailbag. Mailbag time here at the Cleveland Browns Report. We're going to answer questions that you, the viewers, asked during our live show, which airs every single Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern. So tune in next time if you've got a question you want answered. Now, let's start off with this question coming in from Chef Ruben, talking about Perrion Winfrey. Now, like I said, we are filming this during our live show on Thursday, so it is subject to change. But in terms of Perrion Winfrey, don't cut him. Have him be on a short leash, but Andrew Berry needs to be on the lookout for a replacement. So I'm going to answer this question assuming Winfrey is still on the team while you're watching it, and I'll say this. If he wasn't on a short leash after everything that happened last year with being suspended by the team, being a healthy scratch for 2 weeks, and missing a game due to a concussion from riding a scooter into a pole, what kind of leash was he on? So Andrew Berry should be looking for a legit replacement if he's looking for a new defensive tackle on a rookie contract for the next 3 to 4 seasons. Because Jordan Elliott's entering the last year of his deal, and Tommy Togiai is not the future at the position. So, yeah, there needs to be some hard looks into, Elliott 2021, 22. Yeah, 2023, last one. So he definitely needs to maybe bump up defensive tackle in his priority list when it comes to the draft. Chef Ruben, thank you for the super chat. Michael Warnecki, when should the Browns draft a running back? I know the fun thing to say is there's so many good running backs late in the draft. Just wait. That's true-ish. I don't know. Nick Chubb and Dalvin Cook were both great backs. Derrick Henry, too. They were second-round picks. So I only say that to say if the belief is you can find a great running back in round 5, sometimes you can. But for every hit, there are a couple of misses. If you don't believe me, go pick a random year and look at a draft, and you'll be like, never heard of any of those running backs. So when should the Browns draft one? They've got Nick Chubb for sure for 2023. I want to believe 2024, but it's not 100%. So maybe round 4 or round 5 again, like Jerome Ford. I definitely would not make it a 3rd-round pick, though. Joshua Miller, Yahoo Sports, says trading for Deshaun Watson and giving him that contract is easily the worst decision the Browns have made in the past 7 years. Thoughts? Yahoo Sports is simply looking at this from a political angle and does not care about the production on the field whatsoever. If Deshaun Watson wins a Super Bowl for the Cleveland Browns, Yahoo Sports' title will be Browns Super Bowl with an asterisk because of Deshaun Watson. They are simply never going to be a fan of the Browns for this move, and that's that. But they are clowns and they are frauds for this idea of that being the worst move in the past 7 years. They're very lucky they didn't go back a little further, because if they did, a guy named Brandon Weeden would have definitely been a worse move. All right, Stephen Kwan's burner, love it. The Browns traded Troy Hill last year during the draft. Could they trade anyone this year? Very good question, because the Browns are always good for a trade, right? It definitely, at least it feels that way under the Andrew Berry era. So the popular name that everyone's probably thinking is Greg Newsome. There was some smoke, and then that smoke got put out. I don't think a Greg Newsome trade is going to happen at this time. If I had to actually pick someone, what about Jed Wills, right? What if the Browns decide we are not going to pick up his fifth-year option? So if that's the case, we've got him for 1 year left on his contract. Do we roll with him for our left tackle for one more season? Or do we flip him for a third-round pick and draft a new tackle and have that guy be on a rookie contract for 4 more seasons? Not a horrible train of thought if you don't believe that Jed Wills is the future at left tackle and you don't want to pick up his fifth-year option. He was the 56th best tackle last year per PFF and an overall grade of 62.9. I think they will pick up his fifth year, but at this point, I'm kind of in the middle where it's like, I don't hate Jed Wills, but I'm definitely not one of the biggest Jed Wills defenders out there. I thought he got better last year when he wasn't dealing with nagging ankle injuries. So hopefully this year, all that's behind him, and he kind of has like a Caleb McGarry year from the Falcons, who was a first-round bust, it appeared, and then he was one of the best tackles in football last year. Now, let me know, would you trade Jedrick Wills for a third-round pick? This is the pinned comment on today's show, so if YouTube sticks an ad break in a moment, take advantage of it and let me know your thoughts down below. Mac Predalis with a super chat. I think the Browns should trade up and grab Siaka Ika. Ika, the defensive tackle from Baylor, he transferred from LSU, is your prototypical Vita Vea nose tackle, run-stopping boulder of a human being who's not going to fill out the stat sheet, but he's going to free up linebackers to do their job. And when you look at this Browns defensive line, you've got that in Dalvin Tomlinson, although he's not just a complete run stopper. Like, Dalvin Tomlinson can do some business in the pass rush department as well. Ika, not so much. Another concern I have with Ika is he's not a 3-down player, which, then again, not many defensive linemen are, if I'm being fair. And also, he's somewhat regressed from 2021 to 2022 with Baylor. There needs to be some research and homework done on why that was. So I'm going to pump the brakes on trading up to get Ika. The Brown Tiger, do you think Barry would trade up to get Trent Simpson? He's a baller for sure. I know from experience. As always, screw the sucky squealers. I can agree with you on that last part. Trent Simpson, linebacker from Clemson. We can get you his bio up on the screen just a second here. But he, for the Clemson Tigers last year, 73 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. A very versatile linebacker. He doesn't necessarily jump out in any aspect of the game, but he also doesn't have one big lingering issue that can be exploited. He's mocked to go second, maybe slip into round 3. I don't think he'll be on the board when Cleveland's on the clock. So if they really want him, and they did have a pre-draft visit with him, they would probably have to move up and get him. If he's there, I'm sure they'll be delighted to see him on the board when they're on the clock. And when I think about this Browns linebacker room, they should be thinking not just ahead, because a lot of them are on 1-year contracts, but also who's going to be the first man off the bench if an injury pops up, or if Walker or Taki is not ready to play week 1, as there's a very good chance both of those guys, or one of them at least, could start out on the PUP list. So who's going to be running first-team defense? They've got to think about this position a bit more than just your average fan is, because it is razor thin at the moment with 3 guys who all ended the year last season on injured reserve. Now, speaking of the sucky squealers, if you think Kenny Pickett is a bust, subscribe right now for no reason other than you hate the Steelers and you want to see them finish closer to pick number 1 than pick 32 next season. Ideally, they finish pick 3. That way they can't trade out and get a big king's ransom like the Bears did, but just outside of getting maybe the best player or 2 in the draft. So if you want to see the Steelers fail, hit that sub button. Lil Beam, what's going on? Besides Jalin Hyatt and Keanu Benton, who would you like to see in a Browns uniform in 2023 from the draft? Good question. What about a guy like the 3rd or 4th round? I love Jamie Robinson, the safety from Florida State. He's just an aggressive ball hawk safety who has downhill tendencies. Yeah, he's got to refine some things here and there, but what player in day 2, or really what player in this draft outside of like 1 or 2 guys doesn't need a lot of coaching to do? But Robinson is definitely someone. I have heard that despite trading for Elijah Moore, they still want to add more speed to this wide receiver room. Josh Downs from UNC, he's probably not going to be there in round 3, so that would require a trade up. Maybe Tyler Scott from Cincinnati. Those could be some guys to watch out for. But I'll go with Robinson as my number 1, not overall player, but I know that the Browns could get him, and I would love for them to draft him. Soul Train, send Winfrey and a draft pick to the Giants for Dexter Lawrence. I know that, what do they call him? D-Law or whatever, he is not showing up to, not OTAs, because that's not just yet, but off-season workouts and whatnot, conditioning and things like that, as he's sort of in a contract holdout. Yeah, you'd have to send Winfrey, a draft pick, and a lot of Texas Roadhouse gift cards to get Dexter Lawrence from the Giants. So that's a bit of a pipe dream right there, Soul Train, but I like where your head's at. All right, before we get to the rest of the questions on today's show, speaking of the NFL Draft, get the official Cleveland Browns 2023 NFL Draft hats today at chatsports.com/Browns hat. I put that link in the comments and the description to make it easy for everyone. So wear the same hat that, who knows, maybe Josh Downs, Jalin Hyatt, Keanu Benton will be wearing in less than 2 weeks from now in Kansas City. Scarehouse Tim Zombie, what's your all-time Browns draft bust list, Matt? I can say confidently and, positively that I was never high on Brandon Weeden because he was a dinosaur, and Justin Gilbert because he was a corner from the Big 12 where they play no defense. I was high on Johnny Manziel. I don't know if that's something to be ashamed of, but yeah, I was pretty up on Manziel. As for Trent Richardson, you got a first-round pick out of him. So, is that really a bust? Kind of flipped into a first anyway, so kind of look at it both ways right there. Rickety Splits. If the Browns move on from Winfrey, who could they sign to replace him? Well, potentially by the time you're watching this could have already been done, or maybe it's not done, but it could happen soon. It's a very fluid situation right now with Winfrey. But a possible replacement, how about a guy we talked about last summer? Akeem Hicks, longtime New Orleans Saint and Chicago Bear. He was signed by the Bucs last year, and he put up 22 tackles in 11 games, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Akeem Hicks last season, when he was healthy, he was a pretty productive member for the Bucs defense, and he would sort of fit that same type of mold for Perrion Winfrey. He's a bit bigger, but he's also a really good pass rusher as well, and not just a nose tackle or run stopper. So, like Winfrey can get after the quarterback, this could be a fun name to keep an eye on for. So what say you? Will Perrion Winfrey be on the 2023 Week 1 roster, right? Will he make the 53-man roster? Give me your best predictions, yes or no. Lil Beam next up. When I thought Newsome requested a trade, I made a trade idea. So we give him to Detroit. Detroit receives 2023 third-round pick, number 74, and Greg Newsome, and the Browns get 2023 second-round pick, number 48. This is almost a carbon copy of the Elijah Moore trade. It's just Newsome instead of Moore. I think Newsome actually has more value than Elijah Moore. Greg Newsome has been a starter for 2 seasons. Elijah Moore, there's a lot to buy in and believe on, but I think Greg Newsome has shown you more about who the player he is, and he just needs to be moved out of the nickel position. So I don't think you have to give up a third-round pick. I think you could flip a first-round pick if we are actually entertaining the idea of trading Newsome, and you could either get for sure a third straight up or maybe a late second, and you don't send a third back over, but you send like a 5th or a 6th. That way the team doesn't lose a draft pick and they gain Greg Newsome, and the Browns just move up from a day 3 pick to round number 2. But at the end of all this, I don't think he's getting traded. Last question coming in from AFX Apocalypse. I really, really hope we get Andre Carter III. What do you think about it? And I hope Stetson Bennett comes to the Browns. As for Andre Carter, I've seen him go round 2 in mock drafts. I see Dane Brugler from The Athletic have him as a 5th round guy. He is a very athletic, versatile player that you can bump all over the defense, and he is a great character and overall football mind to add to your locker room. So I've got no real issues with drafting him. As for Stetson Bennett, dude ain't getting drafted. I can guarantee you that much. Hit me up on Twitter, by the way, for more Browns coverage at Matthew Petey. That link's in the comments and the description. Follow me if you have not already, as I'm always tweeting about the Browns and the NFL. Will Winfrey be on the 2023 roster? Yes or no? That is the question right now. What do we think here?
I think I'm leaning no.
When I first heard about the arrest misdemeanor, I was like, it's a misdemeanor. So this is dumb, but move on from it. And then I saw the details, and I'm like, dude, he's kicking in doors, allegedly.
Yeah.
You know,
It's also like, it's not like he was a first or second round pick. This was a fourth round pick. I think it's pretty easy for them to cut ties.
Right.
Definitely an interesting situation, but I don't know. I think Andrew Berry would just kind of be like, get out.
I know. I just wonder if the Browns are like, listen, we already have so much of a negative spotlight. We can't be known as the team that harbors players who allegedly had, I mean, him and Watson aren't in the same category, but harboring players who had poor interactions with women, to kind of put it lightly. You know what I mean? I don't think there's a word that describes what both of them did allegedly.
And it's not like he popped in his limited reps last season either. Like, it's not like he showed you, like, oh, he could be something special. Like,
right. I mean, this is a different situation, very much. But, like, Jeff Gladney, first-round pick, unfortunately, he was released after
domestic violence.
So, like, this isn't apples to apples, but a first-round pick got released.
Well, and that was also, like, the year after his rookie season.
Yeah, did he do anything his rookie year?
No. I mean, well, he was okay, but he didn't really pop at all.
Yeah.
But he had no, like, prior, like, I guess, mishaps like Winfrey has heading into it. So
maybe not a good example on my end. Rest in peace, Jeff Gladney.
Yeah.
So let's see what else people are saying in the comment section. We are $45 away from mailing a picture of Big Ben crying to the Steelers front office, to their practice facility, every day until the draft. Can we get that done? That would be an awesome note to end on for this live show today. Get to $300, and every single day, some poor intern at the Steelers mailroom is getting a letter. The only thing I haven't figured out is, am I addressing it to Mike Tomlin? I feel like if I address it to Mike Tomlin, it gets lumped into a bunch of letters that never gets opened. I gotta find like the strength and conditioning coach,
or like the social, whoever runs their social media.
Yeah, I gotta find some employee who's like, I've never gotten mail. I can't wait to see who mailed me something.
Also, another good point with the Winfrey stuff, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
another kind of
right. It's just like, is Winfrey gonna be like, listen, we have to set the precedent. Yeah, get everything straight here. We just can't deal with this.
You can't have that reputation.
Right. Okay. We're going to set the timer on if we can get a super chat. If not, we'll have to get on out of here because it's not Steelers talk coming in live. They had that yesterday. But I know that Tyler Jones on the Ravens channel, he was that larger fella on the little caption we rolled. We got a super chat coming in from Robert. Let's go. Robert with an all-time caption right now. First time super chat. Let's go, Robert.
Oh, Robert.
Tursic? Nope, that definitely is not right.
Tarek?
Robert Tarek.
Tarek?
$299 super chat.
He said, should we
Caption,
sign Austin
$299. Should we sign Austin Eckler? That would be a trade. He's under contract with the Chargers. He's looking for a new deal, and no one's paying him. So as for trading for Austin Eckler, you got Nick Chubb. You don't need him. But I do like the train of thought of just collecting all the good running backs in Cleveland, right? Yeah. Kind of like, could you imagine Nick Chubb and Austin Eckler on the same team?
Oh, my God.
Oh, it'd be 100-0 every game.
Second down, Eckler on third.
So maybe we should trade for Austin Eckler now, but it's unlikely. Yeah, I mean, you just don't invest that much into a quarterback to only have two running backs who deserve a lot of touches every single game. All right, Robert getting us up to 258. Can someone pick up,
Rob.
take the pole on, take the baton, and keep the train moving right now? Robert, thank you so much for the super chat. We will update our super chat leaderboard right now as we have destroyed Steelers talk.
Yeah, this has been embarrassing.
But this is not enough. I'm not going to lie. I want this to be embarrassing. I want Jack Sperry to go home and scream into his pillow. Because once again, he started this battle.
Without consent.
And we are ending it. I mean, he straight up rolled the tanks in September 1st, 1939, except this time it's the U.S. military on the Polish side of the border, and we are blowing them up. So let's destroy them. Let's get to 300 in subs, and let's mail a picture of Big Fat Ben crying with a bazillion different bandages on and ice packs to the Steelers front office every single day until the NFL draft. Ty Man the Buckeye, I like where your head's at. We'll do a draft, I think, as a bit of a clock here.
Yeah.
And we'll move on from after that. Because if not, it's still been one heck of a live show. So shout out to Peter, shout out to Michael Warnecki, to Brown Tiger, to Joshua Miller, to Robert, to everyone who has super chatted so far.
And our new MVP from today.
Peter R.
Yeah, Peter R.
Peter R.
That's awesome.
Putting himself in the leaderboard.
Draft. Peter.
Draft
Where do
stuff. I think we got to do.
Draft.
I've got it. Ready?
Oh.
Drafting best places to host the NFL draft.
I like it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That's a good one.
All right.
That's a good one. In honor of it being Kansas City, in honor of it just being like a revolving door now.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, God.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So, NFL draft. Is it Vegas? I think I'm going to go Vegas.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. We got robbed of it being Vegas 2020.
Yeah.
Remember
I
that?
think I'm going to go Vegas. On my desk?
Yeah.
Why?
Today?
There's a little bit of the chip. And you said you could do spicy.
Oh, absolutely not. Get out. No. Steve's not doing the chip. Okay.
Think about it.
So, you're going to go with Vegas.
Yeah, I'll go Vegas 1-1.
I like that. I'm going to go with, give me back to, Radio City Hall, New York City. Radio Hall,
Okay,
whatever it's
yeah,
called.
I like it.
Yeah. It was a good spot for the draft.
Yeah.
I liked it there, too. I like the idea of moving it, but I'll go with New York City.
I'm trying to think of
I got a good second one, so if you're not going to.
You're up.
Oh, yeah. Nashville.
Nashville.
It was awesome
Fuck.
when it was in
Yeah,
Nashville.
That's a good one.
That's a good spot. So New York, Nashville for me.
I'll go Miami.
Draft this year is in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Miami.
I actually don't hate it in Kansas City. I think they're
I
a
think it's a good
football
spot.
town now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You win the
go-
Super Bowl, you host the draft. That's kind of cool.
I'll go Miami for the players. I think the players probably.
Yeah,
excites them
South
most.
Beach. Now, the issue is you do it in Vegas, someone's getting arrested.
Facts.
That is just, it's going to happen. Soul Train with a $2 super chat to get us to 260. What prospect would you get hyped as fuck if drafted? I think like the guy that's like in reach would be Jalin Hyatt or Josh Downs.
Yeah.
If you add them to this offense, I know that defense probably could benefit more from this draft, but those two guys I feel like are going to be great cornerstone wide receivers moving forward. And if you move on from Amari Cooper after this year because you've got some big paydays coming up for guys, you could have a nice young nucleus of DPJ, Hyatt, and more already growing right there. So I'm going to go with one of those two guys on offense. I'll give you a defensive guy, Soul Train. Defensively, Keanu Benton. I just think that if you're going to add defense, like linebacker is really important. I know I just kind of gave a long speech about that, but I can't overlook how great he was at Wisconsin. So those will be my two guys right there, who I don't think will be at pick 74, but you asked for Hype Day F, so that's what I'm going to go with right now. Joshua Miller with a $2 super. Did Deshaun Watson's contract price Joe Burrow out of Cincinnati? I think did Deshaun Watson's contract price Joe Burrow out of Cincinnati? I follow now. Hey, the Bengals, it's not a mystery that they had to pick up a stadium sponsor name after Deshaun Watson's contract. Because here's like the financial aspect of it. When you give someone a guaranteed contract, let's keep math easy. If you give someone $100 million guaranteed, if I got this down correctly because I've done a lot of research on it, the owner and the team has to have, I believe, 75% of that $100 million, so $75 million, in a separate account, untouched. That way, if the owner or the team went out of business, the player still got his guaranteed money. Not every NFL owner has $230 million or a 75% of it at the snap of a finger. Jimmy Haslam, he does. He does not have to move a ton of money around to get that done. The Bengals, on the other hand, they walk to practice over a highway. So they do not have that kind of cash waiting and available for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow is going to get $300 million.
I will say this.
He's at $275.
I've been saying it for a little bit. I do think Burrow's going to take a discount. And not like a discount.
How much per year? Deshaun makes $46 million per year. How much per year for Burrow?
I think he's going to do something like Mahomes did. Like, it's still going to be high per year.
Mahomes still like 45. That's what I'm saying. Per year, how much is he?
Probably 45, 50.
I think he's going to do $50 million minimum.
Yeah, I just can't see him being like, I want 60.
I know.
Maybe
not 60, but he $50 million. So that is why, did he price them out? They're going to get it done. Luckily, that they didn't have to pay Joe Burrow last offseason, or else that could have been a huge issue. But that's why NFL owners are pissed at Jimmy Haslam, because now all these owners have to have all this cash at the snap of a finger. And you know what my official statement is? I don't give a shit. Yeah. That sounds like a you problem, Cincinnati. Don't be so poor. Mac Preda, that's what's going on. Los Angeles for a great place to host a draft.
Yeah,
I don't disagree. Cool. Yeah, LA's a good spot, Mac. I like this. I like this take a lot. Ray Bidding, F Pitt, take them down. $20 super chat. Let's go, Ray. That's what I'm talking about. We are now $14 away, thanks to Robert's $2 super chat at the end. Shout out to Ray, though. F Pitt and Baltimore, couldn't agree more. $14 away. Let's get to 300. We're so close. Who wants to be the MVP to get us over the hump right there? 286 right now.
Petey will live rent-free in the Steelers organization.
I can't wait. I'm literally going to go straight from work right to Walgreens and print them out.
And people think this doesn't matter. Oh, this will mentally, this is just one little, because this you can just throw it off.
Yep.
Throw it off.
Exactly. So, like I said, Jack Sperry at Steelers Talk, he started this, and it's not ending today either. Like, that pissed me off. Can we roll the B-roll one more time?
Yeah, we could. Well,
Tim Green, what do we need to do? That's what I'm talking about, Tim. Yes.
Tim's locked in.
Tim's head of the game right now. Bingo. $20 super chat from Tim Green, and that gets us over $300. Update the leaderboard, Mr. Seatman. 306.
Let's go.
How about that? How about them Brownies?
That is
Let's go Browns. Let's go Browns. Bingo. Tim Green, thank you. Thank you. He knew his role. You know what that super chat was? That's a 3rd and 17. Watson to Cooper at the sideline to move the chains in the fourth quarter.
On a game-winning field goal drive.
Get Cade York in range. Yeah. Now I just need a Joshua Miller $2 super chat to end the show. I mean, that would just push it over the edge right there. Thank you so much, Tim Green. Let's get Tim Green's player comp on screen because Tim deserves it. He's the man with his Egyptian Sphinx in the background.
I love it.
Tim Green, the Eddie Johnson of the Cleveland Browns report. Had to find an old picture, but we got one. Tim Green, thank you so much. Okay, we'll round out the show with our draft here, and then we'll sign off and get you guys on your way. But 306, that's a good sight. That's a good Thursday right there to beat up Steelers talk.
Thank you again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for contributing. If you work or are friends with the Steelers fan, I think we can all share that same, not pain, but, just annoyance.
It's kind of like, they're like the...
nuisance.
Like Outer Banks. They're like the Pogues. And
the Pogues are the poor people.
The Kooks.
The Kooks,
they're
yes.
They're the
Kooks.
Walk with their chest out.
Yes, that's a good one. Outer Banks. What, the idea of them trying creating, these two classes.
I know.
It was take it easy for a little bit there.
It's a low-key awful show.
Yeah. Okay. It's so bad it's good.
Yes.
You want to steal L.A. for your last one?
I would love to.
Oh, Ray Bidding! Let's go.
On. Bring us the 311, Ray. Appreciate it, my friend. He says, I want Calvin Hill.
That is a throwback right there. Calvin Hill played with the Browns in the late 70s, early 80s. But, Ray, You got it, my friend. You are
got
getting
it.
Calvin Hill.
I'm shocked Ray hasn't had one already.
Number 35, four-time Pro Bowler, one-time Super Bowl champ. Calvin Hill, Ray, that one is yours. Done deal. Thank you so much. You're the man for tuning in from Arizona each and every week. Thank you for your unwavering support of the channel. And look at that. We're all the way up to 311 now.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Ray. Let's go, Browns. Let's go, Brownies, baby. Calvin Hill.
Killed him.
Bingo. AFX Apocalypse. I'm going to end the show with this here. Stetson Bennett. Literally. This is not, I'm not just, creating stories here. ESPN reported that a lot of GMs, high-ups, might think Bennett could go undrafted.
Also,
if you don't know the background, sorry, Seeps, to the story here, last year on the draft, I bet our Bears Now host. Congratulations, Harrison. He just had his first child. Yep. But his son is going to have a father who got his first bet wrong.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks into his life.
That's tough.
It's tough. Sorry, PJ. But I bet Stetson Bennett would not get drafted.
See, will Stetson Bennett headline Browns undrafted free agents?
I will melt. I will melt. Honestly, it's kind of perfect, though, if he's UDFA signed. Because it proves I'm right.
That would be awesome. He's a Browns UDFA signing.
Right. Full circle right there.
That would be funny.
Okay, to round out, I went New York, Nashville. You went?
I went Vegas, Miami, and I'll take Max. I'll go LA.
LA?
Yeah.
I got the last two. I don't even know if we went in order. They did it in Cleveland a couple years ago. It was good. I don't know if it's like a you must go back to kind of location, though. I think Dallas could be fun, actually.
Yeah, shit. Dallas is very
There's a lot
very
here.
Good. Yeah.
Like Jerry World would be a cool spot for the draft, I think.
Very cool.
So I'll go Dallas.
And Jerry would do it big.
He would do it big. Everything's bigger in Texas. So I'll go Dallas, and then I will go with what's another spot? Just kind of thinking around the country. Like I wouldn't do Seattle or San Francisco. I'm not going to do Denver.
I was thinking Green Bay is probably the worst spot.
I'm not going to do Green Bay. It was Chicago had a really good setup for it when they had it back in like 2016, 2016, I think.
Minnesota would be kind of boring.
I'm not. It's in Detroit next year. I'm not picking Detroit. You know what? We'll end the show on a good note. Let's go with Cleveland. Let's go with Cleveland.
Right.
For beating the Steelers in Super Chats this week. Let's go, Browns. Every single one of you who Super Chatted, pat yourself on the back for taking down Steelers talk. Let's go, Brownies. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. We will sign off, and we will catch up with everyone later. More content throughout the week, as always. Let's go, Browns.